Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, today is indeed a great day for the Olympic movement. Especially here, being here in Pakistan and talking about the administration manual issued by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, which is used worldwide to convey a message of Olympism. Today, we launch the Urdu version of this extremely important document, and joining us today, I have the greatest honor to say that we have amongst us today some of the biggest names in education, art, philanthropy, and you name it, and they are involved in all these fields. These are people who have contributed immensely, as I said, in the poverty alleviation. And you must be wondering, why are the Olympics people talking of poverty alleviation? I'll explain this a bit later, because this is one of the bases on which Olympism, sir, is built. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce to you Dr. Mohammad Amjad Saqib's Sitara Imtiaz. The founder and the executive director of the Akhuwat Foundation of Pakistan. Drawing inspiration from the generosity displayed by the Ansars, as the Akhuwat website tells us, Dr. Anwar Saqib has launched a project which believes that the same approach, if adopted by us or everyone, whereby one affluent family embraces or adopts another family which is not so affluent, the world would be a different place. I hope I'm right in interpreting your aims, sir. Inequality in this manner will be eradicated from the world. This concept, ladies and gentlemen, again, was given to us by the Holy Prophet once he migrated, and this message was sent across to the Ansars. I have also the honor to welcome the Vice Chancellor over here, Dr. Bushra, who has already, of the Lahore College of Women, who has already been with us in many of our projects. She's helped us recently, and we are now, what we are trying to do is link up Olympism with education. And not only that, but she will be a big help to us, I'll talk about this later, in ensuring gender equality in our movement. We have with us, again, it might be a little bit of a surprise that we are talking of education, we are talking about poverty alleviation. We have also amongst us the Vice Chancellor of the NCA. So welcome and thank you so much for gracing this occasion. You also must be wondering why Olympism and NCA. But Olympism projects the spread of Olympism through its expression through the art form. And this is something which is everlasting. I'll talk about something, it'll go away. But the art that is adopted will go a long way, in fact, will live forever in history. So thank you so much for being with us, sir. I go back to the founder of the Olympism. Why are we talking of education? Why are we talking of poverty alleviation? Why are we talking of arts and culture? Coubertin was a French educationist and a historian. His primary aim was reforms in the education sector. And to conduct a study, he went across to the UK. And there he discovered that the character building and the educational reforms that he was looking for was actually being practiced by the British through the adoption of the principles adopted in sports. So that is what the whole thing was all about. And therefore, he founded the concept of modern Olympic education, a universal education system for the whole human individuals, provided they believed in Olympism. So then comes the question, sir, of what is Olympism? Olympism by itself is, they say, a philosophy of life, which combines the balanced whole of the body, will, and the mind. Again, a surprise. We are not talking of medals. We are not talking of anything else. First, we are talking of character building of the people. It blends culture with education. It places sports at the service of harmonious development of mankind. Over here, both the cognitive as well as the motor skills. With a view to promoting a peaceful society concerned with the preservation of, again underlined, a principle of human dignity. Sir, the principle that you have based your whole thing on. Again, it says, the practice of sports is a human right. Every individual, young or old, big or small, has the right to participate in physical activity or sports. And within this, the Olympic movement, which has resulted out of this, its supreme authority is the International Olympic Committee. It covers all the 5 continents. It reaches its peak. Now, please remember, there are all these things coming up, development of the human body, intellectual development, etc. And this, and of course, peace through sports. Now, this is all developed and brought together in the form of the Olympics every 4 years. So this concept must be kept in mind, that the Olympics are held to bring the people of the world together for the obvious consequences of a better understanding and knowing each other and developing that relationship. The Olympic rings that you see there are linked together of then the 5 continents. To sum this up, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, presently the president, he sums this up all by saying, Olympism is more than a concept for sport. It is a philosophy of life. So what do we see now? Because of what we've just said, heard, or seen the president of the IOC say, this movement of the Olympic movement has now moved on to the highest possible level, and that is the United Nations. In 1922, the IOC and the International Labour Organization, that was the original thing, initiated cooperation amongst each other. So the linkage developed then. In 1993, the UN General Assembly approved a UN resolution entitled Building a Peaceful and a Better World Through Sport. and the Olympic ideal to use sport as a tool to promote peace, dialogue, and reconciliation in the area of conflict. They picked up this concept from the Greek times, where an Olympic truce used to be declared whenever the Olympic Games were to be held. All warlike activities ceased so that all athletes from all over the world could come together, participate, and maybe just a little bit contribute to a more peaceful world. In 2009, the UN General Assembly granted IOC a permanent observer status. So the Olympic movement is represented at the United Nations as a permanent observer, a huge thing. The IOC can now be directly involved in the UN agenda and can both attend and take the floor at the UN General Assembly meetings, which gives it the opportunity to promote sports at a new level. Now, sports, please remember that, the all-encompassing definition of sport and not just the physical activity that is taking place. In 2014, the UN and the IOC signed an agreement for strengthening collaboration, stating IOC and UN share the same principles. If you look on the right of the screen, the Olympic principles, as mentioned by the then Secretary General, he says Olympic principles are United Nations principles. The IOC president was appointed special envoy of the Secretary General for Youth, Refugees, and Sports. So this is the kind of influence that sport, in the larger and the broader sense, is supposed to influence. In 2015, sport officially was recognized by the UN as an important enabler of sustainable development and was included in the UN Agenda of 2013. So the SDGs that we are talking of, Sustainable Development Goals, sports has been defined as an enabler to achieve those. The IOC believes in the potential of sports to help achieve several of these 17 SDGs, which has been established by the UN Agenda of 2013, with particular focus on actually 5, but I will cover, in fact, more. So on the screen is are the SDGs that now, sir, I come back to you. The first one is, it says over here, no poverty or poverty alleviation. Sports is again considered as one of the major factors towards poverty alleviation. How? Look at the industry that develops if you're playing sports. Look at the employment that takes place because of the requirement of sports. Look how the greenhouse gases are affected by going green. So all these things are directly related to the alleviation of poverty, not maybe absolute, but definitely a move towards that. In Goal 3, it says, ensure healthy lives and promote the well-being of all at all ages. So it is not restricted to just the youth. We have this issue of the health of the youth. We have youth obesity. And the figures are very large, alarming in fact, sir. So can sports help? The UN says it can. Stunted growth and so many other things that sports can assist. What we neglect is we generally concentrate on the youth. But the major expenditure actually takes place with the older generation. Someone breaks a hip bone, which is very common. And just by concentrating on those particular aspects, sports can help overcome that, and thereby it is a proven fact that your medical bills at the national level come down drastically. Goal 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities. Education. The book over here, which is being unveiled today, is education. The child who's participating or learning how to run and balance himself is education. So in all aspects of a human being's life, sports will always play an extremely important part, and therefore the UN. Goal 5, achieve gender equality. This book tells us about the IOC's policy on gender equality. And let me assure you that at the POA, we are trying our best to come up to that figure. Initial figure is of 33%, but we are moving on to 50% representation. But it doesn't stop here in gender equality. It is mandatory now for the ladies to come into executive positions, not just be sitting there for the meetings, but be in the executive position to influence decision making. I expected a lot of clapping from the ladies, but I was so. So these are some of the facts. Oh, let me go back and just talk about one or two other things. And that is, if you go over to SDG 16, the second last one, it says peace, justice, and strong institutions. I wonder how can that be developed through sports? This is a mandate which is there for the Olympics itself. And it is aimed at a self-correction so that we can serve by example and others can follow what we do. After all, we are part of the same society. And this thing, if it spreads, will send a message. Partnership for the goals. For all these goals that have been mentioned, I have not covered all of them. For the goals, partnership. Sir, this is what we are here all for. The educationists, the philanthropists, the arts and culture. We all have to work together to develop the concept of Olympism, not at the moment just to win gold medals, not at all, but for the development of a human being. And therefore, this book ensures that it is not just rights that we are looking out for as far as the sports bodies are concerned. It is also obligations that we have. And therefore, very quickly, this is a part of the fundamental principles of Olympism, good governance. And in particular, transparency, responsibility, and accountability. This is a message for all the sports administrators who are here. Because until and unless we ourselves are not capable of it, we will not be able to spread the message. And let me assure you, the sports bodies are being held. you may be reading a lot in the papers, are being held for their accountability for all aspects that they are responsible for. So these are basically some things which are given over here, but whatever we have mentioned are to be adopted by the sports administrators and working with the educationists and all other people, working together and projecting sports as something which has a public value. So therefore, this is what this book is all about. And within this, it advocates three approaches: good governance. Good governance has a public value and an end for itself, that is possible. But good governance has a process of managing tensions between the public values. So this is what we are talking of, and I'm just very broadly and briefly giving you the thing of what is contained in the book. So the book basically comprises on the aspects which have been shown on the slide. The most important, all of them are important, but if you ask me, on a degree, then I would say section 4 and section 5. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what Olympism is all about. Winning gold medals, actually speaking, is part of the whole system. Yes, you are better than the others, someone is below or something. But overall, the medal tally does not reflect what the Olympics want. They want a cohesive world, not a division because of the medals. That is a byproduct, you can say. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our honored guests. We are very grateful that you are here. You may also say that it could be termed as a selfish motive, but I assure you our hearts are in the right place. And we are looking up to collaboration with all of you to bring the country on the map of the world for these reasons, not other reasons. And I assure you, already, as far as the Olympic movement is concerned, Pakistan is in relatively good standing, but we are not there. To get there, we need your help. And I hope we'll be able to take it further ahead and not leave it at the book launch. Thank you very much.